Hey, all. We're going to do a song by one of my favorite hard rock metal bands of all time, King's X. This song called We Were Born to Be Loved. Let's check it out. Okay, so for those of you unfamiliar with King's X, it's not really overly surprising. This trio that launched out of Houston, Texas, by way of Missouri. Um, you might consider them a progressive hard rock band. You might consider them a classic hard rock band. It's really hard to say because they don't fit neatly into any kind of a box. But it's been the same three members for over 40 years. They just released recently their newest studio album, right here. And they've been pretty consistently great, in my opinion, ever since the first time I heard them back in the 80s. This song is off of the Faith, Hope, Love album. It's called We Were Born to Be Loved. And I got a funny little anecdote about this afterward. So let's check it out. First things first, that opening lick is so damn heavy. I'm going to start it over again. This band has been called by many your favorite band's favorite band. And there's a lot of online testimony to that from the likes of Nuno Betancourt to Jack Blades from Night Ranger, all the way through, frankly. They were in the VH1 did a list of their top 100 hard rock and heavy metal acts of all time, voted on by musicians and people in the industry. So to make that top 100 list is pretty impressive. You had quotes on there from people like Richie Blackmore from Deep Purple saying that it's one hell of a band and I'd hate to follow them on stage. You have quotes from people like Nile Rodgers saying that band is ridiculous. Vernon Reid from Living Colour saying that they should have been the biggest band in the world. It's almost criminal that they weren't the momentum that they had around the Faith, Hope, Love album didn't continue on. But once again, contractual issues and arguments with management and record labels because the band doesn't fit so nice and neatly into a tight little box to conform with the music industry's packaging, really held them back. But, their fans are a diehard legion amongst which I count myself as one. Anyway, let's get back to that lick, okay? Let's go. That's three-part harmony. There's only three people in the band: the drummer Jerry Gaskill, the guitar player Ty Tabor, and the singer Doug Pinnick. The bass player Doug Pinnick, I should say. All three members of the band sing. They all have lead vocal tracks on most of their records. Ty Tabor is one of those guitar players that is just remarkable in his phrasings and his melody, and he doesn't necessarily fit in what you would consider contemporary guitar playing styles. He definitely had some influences of artists like Phil Keaggy to do, alternate tunings and play in strange voicings. Doug Pinnick, what a voice. I mean, he was offered the lead vocal role in Deep Purple and he turned him down because he loved his band King's X. So he didn't want to leave it to go do, the Deep Purple thing. And Jerry Gaskell, very unique drum style. They were credited by some for sort of really progressing the drop D tuning in hard heavy music. Their vocal harmony, they themselves credit a heavy Beatle influence on that. Just magic. Let's get back to that second verse. Let's go. The syncopation in that is just next level. And the album before this was an album called Gretchen Goes to Nebraska. And I remember clearly seeing magazines like Guitar World and Guitar Player magazine say that the Gretchen Goes to Nebraska guitar tone, aka now the King's X guitar tone, was the greatest, best, most original guitar tone at that point since Van Halen 1 had come out in the late 1970s. And often Ty was asked what guitar amplifier he was using by fans and press alike. And for the longest time, he refused to tell anybody what the amp was. Turned out that it wasn't because the amp was overly special or a particular kind of, Marshall or whatever it was. It was because it was a lesser known amplifier, and he was a little reluctant to tell people because he was afraid that people would start snatching them up, and that if he ever needed to get a replacement, he wouldn't be able to get one. So on the new album, he says that he used a lot of that amp in the original King's X amp rig, guitar rig, during the recording session. So yeah, check that out. Anyway, let's keep going. Always love that song. Definitely in my top 5 King's X songs of all time. So the interesting story, the anecdote. I remember sitting up one night. I was watching The Late Show with David Letterman. I can't remember whether it was The Late Show or Late Night, whatever the hell it was. And they go to commercial break, and all of a sudden I hear this lick, and I'm like, holy crap, was that a King's X tune? But they faded to black and into the commercials. So I'm sitting there going, I don't know whether I heard that right or not. Well, it was one of those commercial breaks where they come back from the commercial break with the sort of mid-announcement where they go, tune in tomorrow night when Dave's guest will be blah, 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 blah. So the band's still playing in the background, and I'm like, I'll be damned, that's a King's X song. That's We Were Born to Be Loved. But then am I hearing things? Faded back out to commercial. Come back a couple of minutes later, and they part at the end, and I'm like, I need to know for sure that this happened. So the next morning sent an email to The Late Show, to the David Letterman Show, to Paul Schaefer, not really expecting to hear back from anybody, but I had to give it a try because I needed to know if I was hearing things or not. And a couple of days later, sure enough, I actually got an email back from Sid McGuinness, the guitar player from the Letterman band. And he actually confirmed for me that not only do the band play that song, but there's at least 2 other songs that the Letterman band was known to put into their show repertoire. And in his words, sometimes you just have to play a song for you. And so I guess because it was a favorite amongst the band, Anton, Willie, Paul, the whole group, they would every once in a while drop in a song that the band likes that the audience probably wouldn't necessarily recognize unless, in this instance, they were a King's X fan. And I found that to be unbelievably, just unbelievably cool of them, right? Yeah. Just think about that. You're just sitting there going, wait a second. Did they just play what I thought they just played? And then they responded to the email, and that was just over the top cool. Like I said, though, this band is widely considered to be one of your favorite bands. And I think that story goes to show that it's true, right? Anyway, leave a comment in the comments below if you like this video, and let me know what you think. Let's talk about it, okay? All right, take care.
The Late Show encourages you to help disaster relief efforts. Visit Doctors Without Borders at www.doctorswithoutborders.org and make a donation. Thank you.